Hey, nerdlings!
What up, nerdlings?
So, you know what? We had a lot of fun with the collab with Back in the Day Gamer and Captain Algebra. So, like Back in the Day said, let's keep this series going.
Yeah.
We decided to pick out some of our own personal hidden gems on the NES. And we are going to start with Back in the Day Gamer.
What's happening, nerdlings? Back in the Day Gamer here. The title I'm coming at you with as my personal hidden NES gem is a game that I honestly don't believe 99% of you have ever heard of. And I want to hear some chatter in the comments section below if you have actually heard of this game. But it is a game I used to play on my old IBM computer on them 5 1/4 floppy disks and the old craptastic CGA monitor. It ended up getting ported to the NES. It's actually one of the 4 advanced Dungeons & Dragons titles on the NES, and that game is none other than Hillsfar. Now, I don't even know how to explain this game. Technically, it's an RPG, but it's so much more than that. I guess you would have to describe it as a top-down, dungeon-crawling, choose-your-own-adventure action RPG. There's a mouthful, huh? Let me explain why that is. Most of the time, you are top-down. You're not dungeon crawling because you're usually in a town or inside buildings. To travel in between towns and places, you actually ride a horse. And that's one of the things that makes this game really unique. You've got to traverse over obstacles, jumping things, ducking things, and you make it to the town. And the game is kind of a fetch quest. You go to your guild master gives you a task, gives you some hints, you follow up, you go to the taverns, you listen to gossip, you end up exploring buildings. When you're in the buildings, it gives you a time limit, you're searching for things, you come upon chests. Here's another unique aspect of the game. The chests aren't always open. Then you get your choose your own adventure going here. You can choose to leave the chest alone so you don't spring a trap. You can try using brute force, items, magic, or the most unique aspect, picking the locks. Use different tools that are just the right shape to try and get the lock to open. While you're in these rooms exploring, there's a time limit. Once it hits a certain time, the guards start to come after you and you have to find the exit. If they find you before you reach the exit, they take everything you found in that room. Sometimes they just toss you out, but most of the time they toss you into the arena to fight for your life. So as I said, let me know in the comments below if you've ever even heard of this title. And if you have, I'm calling shenanigans. But thanks for having me on the channel, nerds. Take it easy, everybody. Until next time, keep it retro!
Whoa, okay. You got me there. I have never heard of
I've heard of that
Hillsfar.
game.
Right.
No, I just wanted to see him freak out and be like, what? Because I know no one's heard of that game.
First of all, it looks very cool, actually.
It does. I really feel like that would have been one of those games in the rental store that would have reeled me in with being able to
no
ride
doubt.
horses and go on quests. And then it would have gotten it home and been like, this is not what I thought it was.
The visuals alone, I'm very impressed with how much it does look like a PC game for the day.
It really does.
Because sometimes those ports didn't always carry over that well. So it looks very cool. And
I will say, though, those jumping mechanics were a little...
the little guy.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, now, so for our game, what is on your shoulder?
It's Fizzgig. Remember him?
I remember.
This is a little hint as to our hidden gem.
Well, if it's a blue dragon, then you must be talking about Dragon's Spirit, the new legend.
I like this one because it's got dragons in it.
So this is actually a really interesting game. First of all, when you look at that cover, at least for me, I totally thought this was going to be like an RPG style game. What's interesting is this is actually a shooter game, and it's very similar to Xevious. And Xevious had like an overhead shooting mechanic, but you could also drop bombs on ground enemies. So you have a dragon, you could shoot fireballs and everything, and then you can also drop like little fire bombs onto the ground.
Now, I like this game because, one, it's dragons. Most of the time you're a dragon in this thing. And two, it's got a story. And as someone who likes to watch video games more than she plays them, I love the fact that there's a story in it. The only problem is I'm terrible at shooters. I don't do well with those kind of games where stuff's coming from the top of the screen and you can't really, you just kind of do this and shoot at things.
So like she said, it does have a story. This is a fantasy one. Of course, your twins that are born and trying to get some revenge for their fallen father and everything.
Hey, what a great name for one of those twins, too.
Lace.
Lace.
And whenever you take this sword that belonged to your father, it turns you into a dragon, like
that is
it does.
So cool. I honestly think I would probably take that sword.
Now, of course, what would a shoot 'em up game be without power-ups? And instead of getting lasers or missiles in this game,
2 heads.
yeah.
Or 3 heads.
But you also have to watch out.
Because if you get hit, you lose a head. Lose a head.
And are all the power-ups good?
No. Some power-ups are bad.
Yeah, some will take you down a notch. And one last thing to note is it shows a blue dragon on the front. That is because there are 2 difficulty modes in this game. You start off as a blue dragon. If you take enough hits and you die, it will give you a gold dragon to play as. Here's the problem. The gold dragon does have more hits, but there's less stages and a false ending. Because
so the
that's
game
the
is
easy
like
mode.
basically making fun of you and laughing at
A little bit. And you know what? That's the NES in general. So our hidden gem is a shoot 'em up that looks like it should be an RPG with a fantasy setting, and of course,
dragons.
All right, well, nerdlings, let's see what hidden gem Captain Algebra has.
Hey everybody, Captain Algebra here, and I'm here with my biggest hidden gem on the NES. Now the NES gets talked about all the time. Tons of videos on it on YouTube. And you always hear about the same games. The Contras, Punch-Out, the Mario games, the Zelda games, all of those. Well, those are all great games and all. There's some really good hidden gems out there. So for my pick, I went with Legendary Wings.
Legendary Wings is a vertical shooter released by Capcom in 1988. You play as a legendary soldier, entrusted by Ares, the god of war, to save the world from extinction using your legendary wings. The game consists of 5 levels, progressing in difficulty. In each level, there are 2 side-scrolling bonus stages. The first is the Lucky Hole that gives you points, continues, and power-ups. The second is the Minus stage, where you have to fight a bunch of enemies until you fight a boss. The game has a very simple power-up system where you collect P-discs that upgrade your weapon. After the 4th pickup, you turn into the Firebird and become very powerful. The power-ups become very important as you progress through the levels and the difficulty spikes. And at the end of each stage, you fight a dragon before entering the side-scrolling dungeon. At the end of the dungeon, you fight the same boss, but it gets tougher and tougher with each level. Legendary Wings is a solid shooter and easily one of the most underrated games in the NES library. It's a game that I never hear people talk about, even though it is a ton of fun. The cart goes for less than $10, so make sure you pick it up the next time you see it.
There you go, there's my pick for the biggest hidden gem on the NES. Let me know what you think, and until next time, this is Captain Algebra, signing off.
That is a pretty sweet pick, Cap. In fact, I could even second that.
Oh.
Yeah, this one we have. Sorry, Tony. But first of all, I love seeing the additional shooter love because there were a lot of fun shooters, you know, very much that arcade action.
Mm-hmm.
Great games to pass back and forth the controller with you and your friends so you can get the higher score.
I was going to say, I don't do so well with the ones where they force you to go because I guess that maybe I get too chickeny, but I'm like, no, I don't want to, the screen's going to make me crash. So those make me a little nervous, but I did like the, you know, there's some Egyptian love in there. I love Egyptian stuff. That's
definitely something
cool.
that would appeal more to you. Now, something that I really like about that game is the fact that it gives you both a top-down view, but then like the more traditional side-scrolling shooter view. So, best of both worlds.
I also think the guy kind of reminds me a little bit of Hawkman with the wings and everything. And I'm a Hawkman, Hawk girl.
So, nice choice, Cap. All right, nerdlings. So there are our 3 hidden gems on the NES
They
are
were some
personal
really good
favorites.
ones.
Yeah, they were. And now you have a place to start with the NES in case you need something new to play, especially when it's stuff that you may not have heard about before.
Exactly. And the next part of our series will be with Captain Algebra. He's going to be the host next time.
So make sure that you are keeping an eye on his channel for that video. Thank you for watching our channel. Of course, links to these awesome guys in the description below. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter for those closer upper pictures, and to let you know that YouTube has a video dropped if YouTube doesn't tell you a video is dropped.
All right. Good luck, nerdlings.
Bye, nerdlings.